but to go online and see how productive a lot of people were,
Yeah.
would kind of jolt me for a moment of what's wrong with me. Maybe if I just make a bunch of lists, because I'm good at reacting to lists and being able to cross off things. I like that, like assignments, but I couldn't even do that for a long time. And I just had to make a decision to not beat myself up. I didn't feel like experimenting or exploring when I finally had time to do it. But then the deadline was creeping up.
So tell me about the show and
Yeah.
what was your deadline?
So I did the show last year, November, December 2019. And it went really well that year. And the gallery curator felt like my artwork was cheerful. So she offered me December 2020, January 2021. So it's a 2-month solo show. So I made all these notes of how I would get a lot of the wall hangings done before we left for France. I have a clunky little sewing machine over there that costs about $40. It goes chug, chug, chug. So it's not that I can't work over there, and I have a small fabric stash over there of some like antique French fabrics and things, but I wanted to get a lot of it done beforehand so I didn't have the pressure, because I figured out I needed to make 20 new large wall hangings. The space is the library, but it's a giant light-filled kind of atrium field space that gets a lot of walk-in traffic because people know it as a wonderful gallery space, and they don't take any commission at all. And they have these 2-month slots, and they're very supportive. They make a poster for you. And then as things got more complicated, in regards to not going to France and having to cancel. Julie, Misha, and I were doing a workshop at La Cascade, and we had to cancel that. And, I just didn't work, and I didn't feel like it. So September is really when it dawned on me, I need to get busy. These take time, and I have a lot of them because I had the deadline. That's the real reason I stopped watching Netflix and started making things.
So Netflix was your
It always went out, always. For months, if I said to myself, do I want to make a piece of jewelry or do I want to watch Netflix? Netflix won. And then, of course, after I get the wall hangings done, that's when I have to think about and make the polymer piece that goes with it. The biggest ones are about 5 feet tall. The one with the capris, I think that's about 4 feet. So I had many in that size range. I wanted to have a price range too. So that was part of my thinking about they can't all be this 5 feet tall because I want to charge for that. And then my small ones, which are approximately 11 by 14, which is where I first started many, many years ago, I was able to have maybe about 25 of those in the show. So I had small ones too. And then once I got kind of in the groove of making jewelry for the wall hangings, it would lead into, oh, I should make 10 of these for the show because they do have these nice jewelry cases to take advantage of. But I lay them out on the background fabric. And at first, the way my mind goes, it's almost like boring stick figure is how it looks to me. And I know, no, it needs movement. So the one that I call Flight, which I sent you a picture of, she's tipping back in a chair, and I had to adjust that chair probably 5 times. It just wasn't feeling, she's not back far enough. So I try to fool around with movement or things going off the side of the wall hanging or just half a face. That feels more interesting to me. Then I sew it once I get all the fabric down. Then there's the boring part, making the back and the sides and the hanging device. And then I get to do the polymer, which is fun again. Oh, I hand bead all of them. I sit and hand bead them with lots of little embellishments. So I do an exciting part, then a boring part of the wall hanging, then an exciting part of the polymer, then kind of the boring part of the hand beading body. I was so tired of doing full figure and faces, which are still kind of difficult for me. I'm like, oh, I'll do just half a body and focus on shoes and pants or mini skirts and purses.
Yeah.
So, I don't usually make that decision until I'm done with the one and go, oh, I'm sick of that, or that was fun, whatever.
And each of them has one piece of polymer or more than one?
They have at least one wearable piece. There may be other polymer embellishments that you can't take off. I was a big Project Runway fan. And what I loved about that was the creativity challenges that they were given to do in a short amount of time. Like, I love parameters like that.
Yeah.
We used to do that kind of thing at retreats with Tori Hughes, where we had an hour to make 60 pots that the only requirement was that it hold a grain of sand. We would have a challenge like that. About 4 years ago, I started giving myself fashion challenges. So same routine, my coffee early in the morning, first thing I do, ink pen, I had a little journal, and I would look at something in my view, like maybe it was the bottom of a garlic bulb, the way that looks, like that. And my assignment, because I do love a good assignment, was to, it's my thing, I love it, was to draw a 6-piece fashion collection based on that motif.
So you have a background in dance. Is that why you're really attuned to the movement in these pieces?
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but that could be. I know when I dream about doing ballet now, which of course I haven't done for years, my dreams are not so much focused on the steps of ballet. They're more focused on moving through space, like a grand jeté. I'm just like flying through the air. Or when I pirouette, I don't think I ever did more than 3, but in my dream, I'm like doing 20.
We know you did the Edge of Night. No, was it the Edge of Night? As the world turned.
The guiding light.
Guiding light. All right.
3 times I was extra with a line. So
yeah,
funny.
But your mother and your sister came and were.
That was to see the play
that
I was in with the lead of Guiding Light, who I didn't know who he was because I watched General Hospital. I was a Guiding Light fan. But yes, my sister and my mom were huge fans of Reed. So they flew up to see him, not me, but him.
But you still go back to New York, and didn't you take an art class when you were there?
2 years in a row, I took a 3-week continuing education class at FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. I was the oldest person in the class. I didn't care, he seemed very interested to have me there. I told him I'm not starting a fashion brand. I make these large collages with fashion. We used to live there. It's my favorite city on earth. We lived there for almost 10 years. So to just go back for a week doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, but how many did you make altogether?
I've had, by the time I had hung the show, I had 21, which I would call medium to big ones. And then I had a lot of earrings. They sold well. And I had an inexpensive brooch, and I made about at least 20 necklaces.
Even during the pandemic, people came to the library, right? Or to the
Yes, that was what was so shocking to me. So it exceeded my expectations. I sold better than the year before.
Really?
It's freaky to me. It's freaky to me.
Yeah.
But I sold 12 wall hangings and a whole bunch more jewelry than I had the year before. But now the show has been down for 5 weeks, almost 5 weeks now, and I still don't feel like making anything. I do not have my mojo back. Every Saturday I look to see, will this be the week that I get my mojo back?